Good evening to you, and thank you so much for choosing Hope TV to update you on what is happening within Kenya and the world over. In our updates tonight, President Ruto has made a trip to Saudi Arabia to make deals on clean energy. Opposition leader Raila Odinga pushes for lower cost of living. The war on terrorism in Kenya continues. We hope your weekend is going well so far. You're tuned into Weekend Newswatch. My name is Joy Muchache. Our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mirethi, and we'll be taking you through our stories for tonight. Let's get started. President William Ruto has called for enhanced collaboration between Saudi Arabia and Africa in the development of sustainable exploitation of clean energy. The president observed that the region's combined hydrocarbon and green energy resources hold promise for meeting current and future energy demands. He made the remarks at the 5th Africa-Arab Summit in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The head of state said Africa is keen on forging a stronger trade and investment partnership with Arab nations to foster regional and global stability.
Thank you for your contribution on matters peace, the Jeddah process, which IGAD, under our chair, the President of Djibouti, is engaged in. We believe will unlock the challenges in Sudan, and your participation in this region will also give us the opportunity to also deal with the challenges that are going on between Israel and Palestine. We believe that terrorism cannot be an answer to any conflict. Neither is occupation. We believe that Palestine should be a free state, and we stand for a two-nation solution as a means of resolving the conflict in that region.
And this has got to do with the heavy rains that we're experiencing right now. The government has assured Kenyans of its preparedness in combating the effects of the El Niño rains, which are currently wreaking havoc in various parts of the country, causing a humanitarian challenge. According to Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, the National Emergency Response Committee is implementing various response measures, including the distribution of essential items to affected families, ensuring efficiency, as well as addressing the water and sanitation needs. Grace Ahati reports.
As heavy rains continue to wreak havoc in various parts of the country, the government has assured Kenyans of its preparedness and measures put in place to assist those affected by floods. Addressing the press in Nairobi, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua noted that over 19 counties in arid and semi-arid lands in the country have been adversely affected by the heavy rains, noting that efforts are underway to document missing persons as well as livestock and crops that have been destroyed. Members of the public have thus been advised to be on the lookout, even as the government continues to work with partners to reduce the impact of the rains.
More than 19 counties in Asal and non-Asal areas have been adversely affected by the continuing heavy rains. 2 sections of roads have been cut off in counties such as Wajir, Isiolo, Mandera, Marsabit, Tana River, Garissa, among others. This has reduced access via land. 3 families have been displaced, especially in northern Kenya and downstream in areas like the county of Tana River.
Gachagua has at the same time reiterated that the various government ministries are working around the clock, monitoring the progress of the rain patterns to avert the El Niño effects, as well as prevent outbreak of diseases.
The ministries of health and agriculture are also on the ground monitoring the situation to prevent possible outbreak of diseases, including animal diseases. Mobile health facilities are being put in place in areas where infrastructure has been destroyed or marooned. The Kenya Defense Forces is running an operation center at the Kenya Defense Forces headquarters. The Ministry of Interior and National Administration is providing security response round the clock and assisting in monitoring the situation and updating all the other agencies in real time.
To this effect, the government has appealed for financial and logistical support from stakeholders, including development partners, as well as the private sector, in order to complement its interventions to mitigate the emergency.
We appeal to our development partners for enhanced financial and logistical support. We also appeal to the private sector to complement the government's interventions by setting aside and dedicating more resources. On the other hand, we take this opportunity to request the county governments to reallocate resources to mitigate this emergency.
Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Grace Ahati.
Thank you so much, Grace Ahati. Moving on to Azimio leader Raila Odinga, who has suggested ways President William Ruto's government should embrace to lower the cost of living in Kenya. Raila has said that 1 year on since the inception of the new government, it is now time to reset economic policy broadly. The Azimio leader said transforming a nation takes hard, dedicated and honest labor of leaders and citizens, adding that no nation is beyond reconstruction and transformation because all it takes is good leadership. To achieve this, the government should provide basic relief to citizens, including reduction of taxes and stimulating production.
So it is my real pleasure to speak to this distinguished audience at a time the country is undergoing profound challenges with no end in sight. My task is to share with you the alternative economic pathways proposed by Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party for the people of Kenya. I will do that with pleasure. And this meeting is taking place as a day after the State of the Nation address by the President. I'm going to try to answer some of the things that he said yesterday. But this is not a response. At the Hustler Fund, which was supposed to support households and micro enterprises, default on payments at a higher rate than those at the commercial banks, SACCOs and microfinance. Out of the Hustler Fund's outstanding, that is 10.2 billion shillings worth of loans in the last 9 months, 29% is deemed to be portfolio at risk, implying it has not been serviced by the borrowers as per agreed schedule. This means that borrowed amounts worth about 2.9 billion shillings in Hustler Fund loans fall in the category of non-performing loans. Job cuts are back to the rate where they were during the COVID. According to the CBK survey, more than a quarter of chief executives expect to cut jobs before the end of the year because of increased operating costs and softening demand for goods and services, setting up families for a gloomy festivities period. The fact is, many Kenyans are both anxious and uncertain of what the future holds. The country is going through a recipe of policy mistakes, failures, and shortcomings served in an authoritarian, paternalistic leadership style. Nobody in government cares about building broad public support around these programs. Everything is forced down everyone's throats. In the run-up to 2022 election, we warned that the sectors of every economy are intertwined, and you cannot benefit one sector by denying the other. We warned that Kenya Kwanza was never going to help the hustlers by robbing the rich and the middle class. In the wake of the Finance Act of 2023, we warned that no nation can ever tax its citizens into prosperity. We are concerned that it is getting too late to change the course. We fear that consequences of the foundation laid in the first year of this administration could linger for years if nothing is done.
The county government of Embu received a consignment of non-pharmaceutical products worth 10 million shillings from Mission for Essential Drugs and Supplies, that is MEDS. The supplies, including clinical gloves, face masks, shields, syringes, aprons, cotton wool, blood bags, among others, are meant to assist health personnel across the 4 sub-counties render their services efficiently. Embu Deputy Governor Kinyo Amugo received the supplies at Embu Level 5 Hospital and announced that another consignment of drugs estimated at 20 million shillings was due to arrive by Saturday. The development comes as a relief to patients who have been complaining of lack of drugs in almost all of the health facilities across the country.
Hospitali kuu kabisa hapa Embu, ambao ni Embu Level 5, tumepokea vifaa za matibabu ambao inaitwa non-farms ya milioni 10 ambayo tunatarajia leo jioni na kufikia kesho. Hiyo ni mandawa ya kawaida ambayo itakuja level 5, ni ya dhamani ya 20,000 ya milioni 20. Jumatano wiki ijayo tutakuwa pia tumepokea ndawa za dhamani ya 34 million ambayo itakuwa ni mandawa ambayo sasa itaenda katika level 4, iende level 3, level 2 na pia ile dispensary ya chini kabisa. Kwa hivyo wacha niseme mimi niko na furaha sana kwa sababu hii mandawa ambayo non-farms ambayo imefika, vifaa ya theater, mashindano, syringes, mask na vitu kama hizo. Wiki ijayo hakuna hospitali yote hata ile ya pale chini ambayo itakuwa na mandawa. Kwa hivyo naomba watu wetu wananchi watulie, turekebishe hii maneno. Wiki ijayo kila hospitali, sianati zote zitakuwa na mandawa, ndio wananchi wetu tuendelee kuwahudumia.
Let's go into some politics in Mount Kenya, where the race for the Mount Kenya region's political leader, often referred to as the kingpin, is escalating, with former Murang'a Governor Mwangi wa Iria boldly claiming the position wa Iria is further promising to run for presidency in the 2027 general elections and has challenged others to match his political stature. Faith Muli with more.
Political leaders in Mount Kenya region continue to clamor for the coveted title of the region's kingpin, with former Murang'a Governor Mwangi wa Iria now declaring that he is best suited for the position. Addressing the press in Thika, Wairia dismissed other aspirants as unfit for the role, emphasizing that he alone meets the qualification for the kingship position. Wairia outlined his criteria, asserting that a true kingpin must have previously contested the highest office, the presidency, a feat that he claims to have achieved. He confidently declared his intention to participate in the 2027 general election, further solidifying his claim to the title.
Msimamo wangu ni ule tu, ati sisi tulikuwa tuwe na candidate ili tukiteta tunajua tunatetea nani, na ndio sababu mimi nilikuwa nimesimama hiyo kiti cha rais. Hata next time mimi nitasimama tu, hata wakinikataa mimi nitasimama tu. Kwa hivyo Wakikuyu wasikie, kiti cha rais mimi nitasimama, kwa sababu ili niwatetee, wanichague na ile kura watanichagua, wakinipatia milioni 4 nitakuwa huyu ndiye kingpin wetu wa milioni 4.
As a prominent figure in the Azimio la Umoja coalition, the former governor challenged other aspirants with similar ambitions, reminding them of his own resilience during the presidential race. Wairia has meanwhile issued a warning, stating that he would withdraw from bipartisan talks if the agenda to reduce the cost of living is not prioritized.
Kingpin inapewa yule mtu ambaye amesimama akapata kura nyingi. Hakuna Mkikuyu ambaye alisimama akapata kura nyingi. Yule ambaye alijaribu kusimama ni Wairia. Kwa hivyo Wairia ndiye anastahili kuwa kingpin.
Several notable figures have been rumored as potential contenders for the Mount Kenya kingpin role, including Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria, former Kiambu Governor William Kabogo, and former Mungiki leader Maina Njenga. However, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has distanced himself from the race, emphasizing his focus on national matters and questioning the legitimacy of the kingpin position, which is not explicitly defined in the Constitution. Faith Muli, Hope TV Newswatch.
At this point, let's take a short breather. We'll be right back with more of our news stories. You're watching Hope TV. Don't go too far.
In order to keep hope alive in the airwaves, Hope Media has a couple of initiatives. Friends of Hope. Friends of Hope is you and I forming a team of well-wishers and volunteers who give in cash and kind to support in spreading the gospel at Hope Media. Currently, Hope Media is running a campaign under Friends of Hope dubbed 100 for 1. Through the campaign, Hope Media is asking Hope FM and Hope TV listeners and viewers to give just 100 shillings in order to reach one more soul with the message of hope and the gospel. Engage with us on our social media platforms at Hope FM Live and at Hope TV Kenya. Kuwa rafiki mso leo.
Before I got married, I lived in his house as a son. My wife took me from his house to her house.
He founded a Deliverance Church, and I was there when it happened on 22nd of November 1970.
I wish everybody would preach like Jokayo.
I never heard him tell stories about donkeys and rabbits and giraffes running and taking corners, all those. So that impacted us a lot.
So when I met Jokayo, I said, hey, Reverend Tom Houston was talking about you. Jokayo said, he is the first person who insisted I must get theological training.
He has just left a legacy of the kingdom among us.
So this parent calls me, sits after service and says, young man, you do not know what you've done, because tells me that my son comes and tells me that, Dad, I have also been struggling with ABCD. His was a mix of alcohol and pornography. And just hearing Justo on Route 104, a fellow young person like me, give his testimony on how God has moved in his life. And I requested to meet the young man, and we met over coffee, became good friends. And I told him as well, listen, by me sharing does not mean, because the devil puts banana peels all over. Now, scripture tells us that, no weapon fashioned against you shall prosper. It doesn't say that weapons will not be fashioned. No, it says no weapon. It means weapons will be fashioned. And he will put traps all over. Right from your phone. You open Instagram, you see an image. And all of a sudden, it plays back. All those things. So that's another, because the battle is in the mind. That is why Paul says in Romans 12:1, not be conformed by the patterns of the world, but rather be transformed by the renewing of the mind. He knows it's here. The devil knows. And this guy is millions of years old. He's not our age mate. For those who remember when I used to tell like that, he's not your age mate. Stop saying at you, me, I know at you have been saved for 15 years. Dude, the devil has been in existence for millions of years. So guess what? He knows everything about you. Okay? But greater is he that is in you. We walked together, and I'm happy to say that he found his deliverance. And he became also a peer champion, as it is, an educator. And for me, those are some of the things that, wow, without Hope FM, really the platform of Hope FM, as Reverend Tomboy used to tell us as well, this is a platform not for you, but God is using you. The initiative Friends of Hope is more or less like what Romans 10:17 says, that faith comes only by the hearing, and hearing through the word of God. But how will they hear if somebody does not go to tell them? Think about that Muslim brother or sister who, because of you being a friend of hope and supporting with your 100 bob or whatever it is, that in Friday evening, by chance, they listen to Yesu Ndianjia. And then because of you supporting and being a friend of hope, the message will reach them in Zanzibar, in Mombasa, in whatever it is. Mimi ni rafiki mso. I'm a friend of hope. I'm just as Zawaka. I would like for you pia ukwe rafiki mso.
Welcome back. You're watching Weekend Newswatch with us, Joy Muchache and Boniface Mureithi. Engage with us on Facebook at Hope TV Kenya, on Instagram and X, formerly Twitter. Find us at HopeTV_KE as we move on. Kisii Law Courts has acquitted Bobasi MP Innocent Obiri over the allegation of breach of peace and incitement charges. Obiri was arrested in May 2018 outside Hilton Hotel in Nairobi and charged with the offense of incitement, disturbance, and malicious destruction of property. The MP allegedly claimed to have stormed into a private quarry in Masongo, Nyamonema, Bobasi constituency in Kisii County. Obiri had entered County 45 Investment Limited quarry and blocked the entrance, thereby creating disturbance. The legislator later appeared before Kisii's senior resident magistrate Ezekiel Obina and was charged with incitement to violence.
Two things. One was incitement and two was malicious damage. And thirdly, obstruction. The background of the whole issue was related to Mheshimiwa's complaints about the adverse effects of the quarry on his constituents, including deaths, injuries, and environmental degradation. And our case, therefore, our defense case was therefore to say that his complaints annoyed the people who are running that business in the manner that was prejudicial to the residents at his constituents.
I must say, this was the first time in my life that I was arrested and I slept in the cell. The matter goes back. My constituency, there was a quarry being mined by blasting. I maintain, as a conservator, that blasting is also practical, is something banned inside residential areas because it has a very big impact on people and their properties.
The National Counter-Terrorism Center, NCTC, has unveiled a series of new strategies aimed at curbing terrorism and violent extremism in the country. Speaking in Mombasa, Director of NCTC, Dr. Rosalind Nyawira, disclosed that the organization has joined hands with leading local and international technological companies to help detect contents that are of violent extremism in nature. She further noted that the National Counter-Terrorism Center has also partnered with the Ministry of Education to develop a training curriculum that will equip teachers with the knowledge to educate their students on recognizing terrorism threats. The forum brought together community and civil society leaders from the counties of Mombasa, Kwale, Kilifi, Tana River, and Lamu.
We are having a conversation for county Balibali. So today here we have the counties represented: Lamu, Mombasa, Kwale, Tana River, and Kilifi. And we are having conversation with the communities from the ground on how the strategy we are implementing has served us, and what we need to improve, what we need to retain, where we have done well, where we need to improve. So it's a conversation around that strategy. Also taking into consideration that violent extremism is morphing, and so we have to think about a wide array of how violent extremism is likely to manifest within our community. But our biggest gain ni kwamba tumewaleta watu pamoja wa jamii mbalimbali kuongea kuhusu hii maneno. There was a time hungeongea, and because also the way violent extremism has manifested in our communities comes with stigma. So but now people are coming out, people are talking, people are telling you what they think is a problem, how there are trends they are seeing within communities that are going to bring problems in the future. I think our greatest gain is bringing people to talk together and get our own custom-made solutions in our ground, because this threat has manifested itself differently in every county. So even our action plans address those circumstances in that space.
Elsewhere, tree growers in Laikipia are asking the government to partner with them in achieving the 15 billion tree planting initiative in the country as Kenya prepares for the countrywide tree planting holiday on Monday next week. Alfred Say with more on that story.
Speaking in Nyanyuki town, the farmers drawn from Laikipia County said that they have tree seedlings that they wish the government could purchase for the tree planting exercise.
at the same line.
While also creating job opportunities for them.
Shukuru sana kwa serikali kuu kwa kutangaza siku ya Jumatatu kuwa siku ya upandaji wa miti, na tunaomba vile serikali inaweza nunua hizi miti ipatie wananchi na kuwe na masomo, kwa sababu kupanda miti ni kitu moja, lakini kumaintain hiyo miti ni jambo lingine. Tunaona sana kuna watu wanapanda miti, after that inaachwa hapo, mbuzi, ng'ombe zinaenda zinaharibu. Lakini kama serikali inaweza chukua watu kama sisi, watupatie hiyo nafasi ya kupanda na to make follow up at hiyo miti ikipandwa, tunaweza wasaidia serikali kupanda na kutunza hiyo miti.
The farmers assured of their expertise to the government, stating that given this opportunity, they would ensure the tree seedlings were taken care of, and called on the capacity building for residents on how to take care and tend for trees. They noted that the general public lacked knowledge on how to ensure tree seedlings survive after being planted.
Hii public holiday inakuja, ningeomba serikali waninunulie hii miti angalau nisiweze kwenda hiyo hasara. Niko na miti kama 1,100. Sasa ningeomba serikali ininunulie hii miti ili nisiende hasara.
The farmers revealed that they have in excess of hundreds of thousands of tree seedlings, and if the government would purchase these for the upcoming tree planting holiday next week on Monday, it would significantly raise their income.
Kazi wa miti unanisaidia sana juu nikiuza hii mti nitapata kitu ya kusaidia familia nayo, na wanunulia kitu ya kukula, alafu unanifanya nisikue idle juu hapa nakuwa busy kila time.
Laikipia County Commissioner Joseph Kanyiri revealed that they target to plant about 4.3 million tree seedlings with resident engagement. Kanyiri added that the government is committed to land restoration and combating climate change.
Ni lengo la serikali kupanda miche mamilioni ili tukaweza kuongeza mahali nchi ambako kuna misitu, tukijua hata mito na chemichemi zetu ambazo zimeathirika na ukataji wa miti ovyo ovyo kiholela. Tutaweza kurejesha hadhi yetu mahali tulipokuwa miaka ya 80 na 70 na kule 60 ambako chemichemi hizi hazikuwa zinakauka.
This is Alfred Say for Newswatch.
A section of clergy has called on the national government to take legal action on drug dealers to curb the supply of drugs in the country, making it harder for youth to access them. During a training program in Mombasa, which was organized by the Association of Pentecostal and Evangelical Clergy of Kenya, that is APEC, in the conjunction with NACADA, in a bid to equip the clergies with skill of handling drug addicts and counseling them to become better people in the society. The national chairman of APEC, Reverend Frederick Ngugi, stated that most of the drug addicts in society are being neglected by their families and communities, while some are being mistaken to be criminals or meet mysterious deaths due to their addiction.
Hizi madawa za kulevya wale wanauza, serikali iangalie, hata NACADA kama tunafanya bidii na wao, na pia kuwe na njia ya kuangalia hawa wanayouza haya madawa ni wakina nani, wanatoka wapi. Maana wengine ni watu wakubwa sana katika nchi hii. Lazima tuwatafute, wasimamishwe, wakatazwe, na kuwe na sheria ambao itawafunga kabisa wasiendelee kufanya hivi.
Kenyans hawaelewi hawa watu, wanaona kama ni wakora, kama ni wezi, wengine wanafukuzwa manyumbani kwao, kwa watu wao, hakuna mtu anataka kuwakaribia, na wanaingia ndani na ndani paka inafika mahali wanakufa. Na kwa sababu hivyo, hii mambo ya addiction na kuambia imeua vijana wengi kuliko magonjwa yote ile.
In order to keep hope alive in the airwaves, Hope Media has a couple of initiatives. Friends of Hope. Friends of Hope is you and I forming a team of well-wishers and volunteers who give in cash and kind to support in spreading the gospel at Hope Media. Currently, Hope Media is running a campaign under Friends of Hope dubbed 100 for 1. Through the campaign, Hope Media is asking Hope FM and Hope TV listeners and viewers to give just 100 shillings in order to reach one more soul with the message of hope and the gospel. Engage with us on our social media platforms at Hope FM Live and at Hope TV Kenya. Kuwa rafiki mso leo.
Treasure Hunt.
Treasure Hunt on Hope TV.
We bring you great content for boys and girls in this new season of Treasure Hunt.
Kisha tashimba shambani.
In Proverbs and Ecclesiastics, he is our wisdom. In Songs of Solomon, he is our lover and bridegroom. Yay!
Treasure Hunt, Saturdays at 9 a.m. only on Hope TV.
Looking at some business news, Mombasa has unveiled a 25-year climate action plan that has prioritized action on achieving climate change adaptation and mitigation. County Executive Committee member for Water, Natural Resources and Climate Resilience, Emily Okello, says the CAP is meant to guide implementation of climate change actions towards strengthening resilience on the impact of climate change. The county government realizes how urgency with it in which it needs to respond to the challenges brought about by climate change. The plan was developed in a participatory way in partnership with the State Department of Urban Housing and World Bank through the City Climate Finance Gap Fund and multi-donor trust funds with support from the governments of Germany and Luxembourg.
So mostly in the action plan, we have prioritized different sectors, the transport sector, and mostly if you look at it, is the issues of e-mobility and non-motorized transport. On the issue of renewable energy, we are looking at clean cooking options. On forestry, we have participatory restoration proposals for our degraded ecosystem. And in waste management, we have a big problem in terms of waste management in Mombasa. We are looking into how we can have options of waste to energy and they exploit the entire value chain for waste for a circular economy.
We feel Mombasa is in the right path because there are those issues that come and they are man-made or natural. And it's important for the counties to know how to recover against the stresses and the shocks. We realize that Mombasa, being a coastline, there are many issues that affect because of the climate change in terms of flooding, erosions, and other issues, and also restoration of the coastline.
Right now, we're going to be looking at some sports news as the Harambee Stars coach, Engin Firat, has unveiled a 28-man provisional squad for the upcoming 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Gabon and Seychelles. The squad has a blend of local and internationally based players with Orlando City's Nabi Kibunguchi, Moranga Seals' Eric Balecho, and KCB's Hanif Wesonga, earning their maiden call-ups. Gaborone United Duncan Otieno, Elfasborg Timothy Ouma, and UTA Arad's Eric Johanna also made a return to the team. Harambee Stars will first play against Gabon on next week in Franceville, and then against Seychelles on the 20th of this month in Abidjan, Ivory Coast. Kenya has been drawn in Group F of the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Cote d'Ivoire, Gabon, Gambia, Burundi, and Seychelles. Well, beloved, it seems that we have come to the end of our bulletin for this evening. Thank you so much for choosing Hope TV to update you. My name is Joy Machache. Our sign language interpreter has been Boniface Mureithi. I wish you well. May God bless you. Have a blessed night. Until we meet again.